Hello, we're just catching some live Crazy House World Championship action here. We've got JohnStuckey versus sha6rath. Funnily enough, I logged on to just check on the forums, see if there's updates on games being scheduled. I sent a message to both players to say that have we got an update on when you're going to play? And I found out they said, well, we're going to play in about 5 minutes. So I've just got the stream up now. It looks like JohnStuckey has... no, this is an old match, the 1-0 scoreline, so this is not included in the match. It's actually the first game, so I'll very quickly run through the moves. Looks like we had a e4, e6. JohnStuckey did not challenge the center with knight e4, bishop g5 played. That's how we got this f6 structure. Pawn at e4, picking up a bishop. A bit unusual, sidestepping the queen. Maybe that was a slip. Queen c1. I expect it would have been taken. And knight at e2 is an issue. So maybe sha6rath has had an awkward slip early on, moving the queen around in an unusual fashion. Alright, JohnStuckey declining the queen here. So bishop at h5 played. So we are 0-0. This is the first game. I don't believe that they are informed when this match was going to happen. I just happened to be online when we got underway. So here we could play rook g8. Yeah, there's no need to take this because then white does get to capture here. If John still wants to continue defending, he can play queen f7. I'm guessing he was looking for more, didn't want to take the queen immediately, wanted to perhaps follow up with a capture on f3. So black looking stronger here. I mean, black has two options. You can try to press an attack, or you can try to undermine the aggressive pieces first. Knight g5, very aggressive, but I think this can be captured. And then black would have a knight in hand. I think you could continue undermining this structure. For example, you could take here and then knight at f5. You've got to be careful you lose h7, but swapping off the pieces here may not be such a bad idea because black can't really attack with one knight. And if you allow trades in the wrong scenario and white gets a rook or a knight, something might occur on these dark squares. So sha6rath definitely with the time advantage here. Okay, he is taking h6. I don't see any other move for white other than to recapture. And then it probably makes sense to play something like knight at f5, queen takes h7, knight takes g7, bishop takes, rook takes, and if black can clear this up first, he'll be set up with lots of material in hand and more grounds to conduct an attack with a safer king. So this is one of those situations where you don't necessarily have to try to attack straight away. Now, sha6rath not even taking the knight, playing f4, maybe was concerned about bishop at f3, but I think you have to take the material here or else you're just falling too far back. Even here, yeah, moving a knight here, relocating it. Cole Eel says, oh my gosh, Jan is streaming more, yay. Yeah, I gotta try to catch these Crazy House World Championship matches, and I happened to stumble upon one. So this queen is now trapped, nowhere to go. But takes here and takes here. So JohnStuckey holding on to the queen trap idea. If rook takes f6, knight d takes f6, gets to develop this bishop. So sha6rath having a think here. I mean, queen takes d5 is also possible because this knight is now pinned. I missed that move. Queen takes d5 preserves the queen. But no, we've gone down this path. Now times are even, about 20 seconds each. And you'll back JohnStuckey to take this game. On paper, the stronger player of the two. But also, yeah, position-wise, very comfortable ahead material. Knight at e5. Alright, moving in for the kill. So here, bishop takes or knight takes. Either is strong. Knight takes threatens rook at h1. Is there a mate here with rook at e2? You'd have to run forward to avoid being mated immediately. Alright, here's where you might make a practical decision just to take the knight so you're not losing your queen. But here he's going to win the queen, which is also just fine. If takes, queen at g4 is mate. So a solid game from JohnStuckey. He takes the lead 1-0. Let me actually follow one of the players. We'll get the TV up. Here we go. Okay, one of my favorite setups. This, knight e2. Plan is to castle here and play f3, and basically white has all the space. Black doesn't have movement of this bishop, and you kind of start by chipping away this most forward piece that black has, and then you can start rolling. Now that's a pawn given for free, so you would take that one for sure. So I think John will be quite familiar with this opening. White's a pawn up here. Knight at h5, a likely idea. Hitting g7 and h7. Pawn at h6 also fine. More commonly we would see knight at h5. This can be taken. Then either maybe pawn at f6. Alright, it's going this way. Pawn at f6 one way or another. White with a material advantage here. Now trapping the queen again. So John very quickly converting one pawn into a lot more material, you can see. And sha6rath covering up, preventing knight at f6, which is a critical move. Knight at c5. Maybe black has to play bishop at c8, so I mean, black's not mated on the spot, but is basically down a queen for a pawn here. So knight c5 makes sense. Yeah, I would have gone knight c5. Knight e5 maybe allows knight at d3. I mean, it's not major. King f1 is fine. Bishop at b5 might pick off the knight, or you might go for bishop takes e7. I just thought you could play knight c5 instead of knight e5 and pick off this pawn before. So pawn at f3, if there's a choice to be aggressive, you gotta be careful. You could get mated here as white. Like if you get ambitious and take here, takes, bishop at f3, king here, bishop at g4, king here, knight f5 check, king g5, h6, looks like mate. Oh, you've got king f6 still. So maybe there was one more pawn in hand for pawn at g7. Yeah. So this is a real threat. This is actually a mate threat. You can't just take this. So John, now the difference was, well, pawn at f3, maybe you could have recaptured with a pawn, but you would have lost d3. So here I think white can take this one, because if black had a pawn in hand, then pawn at g2 would be lethal, but there's only a bishop. And critically here, the bishop does not promote to anything when it reaches h1. So if you play bishop takes e7, bishop at g2 check, king g1, knight at f6 check, king takes, queen at d7, king f8, pawn at e7. Maybe John's being a bit more cautious, but you could get mated by being cautious. I mean, if you play pawn at g2, you could be worse off trying to run your king up. Bishop at f3, king g3, suddenly knight f5 is mate. So, and then if you play pawn at g2, takes, bishop at f3, king back, then pawn at g2 could be annoying. So, this is one of those opportune moments where you play the counter attack. You could defend with something like knight at h4 or rook g1 if you really wanted to. But okay, bishop here. So another thing you can do is try to make black play a passive move, whether it's blocking a bishop or blocking, and then that's just one less piece that black can attack you with. So even if you can't see a precise continuation, like we were discussing with bishop takes e7, this is a practical approach, bishop at a4. It's just saying, well, he has absolutely zero in hand to give me a check with. But the same threat, exact same threat is on. Takes, and knight at f6. Okay, knight takes e5. Queen at d8 is made in 2 though. Let's open up the file. So JohnStuckey with a couple comfortable games to begin. First 2. So I felt like sha6rath had a mouse slip in the first game. Let's see if the opening play changes here. So John knight d7, a little bit passive. White doesn't have to do anything quickly here. It's just giving up some space. You could progress slowly with castles. He's forcing the issue with a3. Maybe it's going to be a bishop at h4 that comes in. I just feel if you castle, this bishop is, not actually threatening anything on e1, and you might encourage black to capture anyway without using a tempo here with a3. So John's decided that he prefer to preserve this bishop on e7 and hitting directly in the center. So this changes the structure in a big way. Like before, white had a clear pawn chain, whereas here it feels like black could start playing in the center again and reclaiming some space. So knight e5. I mean, pawn at e4 is okay. Pawn at f7, maybe not something to be worried about immediately. You could castle. Pawn at h6, you are kind of castling into a few pieces already hitting you, but there's lots of options here. Alpha Lila 0 says hello at Charlie Crazy House. Welcome to the chat. We're here up with JohnStuckey up 2-0 in this Crazy House World Championship match. So what's John going to decide? I don't think taking the knight is necessary. I mean, knight g4, knight at h5. But just as I've said that, he's taken it. Now knight at h5 and white's got some initiative again. It's just the same kind of idea. And you've got to cover g7 somehow. It may even be castling into the storm. No, he's going to take here. So it could be just deciding to run out to d7 or f7. f7 with the aggressive king move, hitting the knight. And this is fine for black as well. In fact, I probably prefer black just slightly here. If knight h5, pawn at e4, and like this f3 and g2, you know, the light squares are looking like things to hit here. DWeb32, always nice to catch a JL stream. Only way I can watch ZH and have any clue what's going on. Alright. Yeah, hopefully we can make this an instructive session. Yeah, maybe there's potentially, you know, knight at f3 is a tempting move here as well, or a pawn at f3. But like if you go back here and then knight at f3 takes, if you can keep going like this, you might run out of pieces, and then white might have something with knight at h6 because you're giving white some material. You've just got to be careful of a counter attack when your own king is open. With knight h5, pawn at f3, knight f4 could be a possibility. I think sha6rath was nervous about something happening on f3. Here I feel as black you should just cash in and take that material. Yeah, you're going to get checked a bit with knight h5 or something, but taking the material can't be so bad. Ladido says, greetings John Lee, are you going to play any crazy house this evening? Well, it's the middle of my Sunday, and I'd normally be out and about somewhere, but because of COVID, we're probably doing less trips to the shops. But yeah, after this match is played, I'll still need to get some things done around the house. So I probably won't be playing directly after this one. I did get to play some Bug House earlier this morning, which was awesome. King Switcher and I partnered up. We took on 12-teen and Katask. Didn't stream that one, but man, we got absolutely smashed. 21 games to 1. That's got to be undoubtedly one of the best teams in the world at the moment. Katask plus 12-teen, if not the best team. It's just absolutely sensational pace and strength that they bring on both boards. So look, JohnStuckey, unafraid, just running the king up to f4. Yeah, you got to be careful. You can't just trade the queen here because queen at f5 will be mate. But he could actually take another piece with the king here, I think, and maybe run queen e2 though. It's queen e2 mating. Ooh, you're playing with fire here. Okay, queen e2 could be mate. So if the black king can run back to d6, it's safe. So as white, you want to stop the king from getting to e5. You want to keep it on the 4th rank. King e3. Now you could check, and the king might run back this way, or you can try to run out this way. He's got to find a way to the 5th rank somehow. So queen e3 check again stops both 5th rank exits. But king c4 and it would have been hard to stop. I mean, it looks like the black king's in so much danger, but it would have been hard to stop the black king from getting back to d7. It's close. This is mighty dangerous now. Like John really is. No, this is mate now. This is mate. This is mate. John's just stumbled into this. Yeah, don't push that pawn. You need this pawn on c2 to finish the mate. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. No, John got complacent there. He took too many pieces. He should have been safe after getting back to the 5th rank, but sha6rath coming up with the coverage with queen e6. Very resourceful with only pawns. Found a way to get the win. And it was quite nice with rook d1. Actually, critical part was, you know, he brought in another attacker on d5. Yeah, alright, sha6rath on the board with a win. But yeah, John didn't need to take so many pieces, I think. Okay, John just going for the material again here. Possibly contemplating pawn at a6. Looking to take two pieces instead of one. So I mean, I think that's interesting for the series because if sha6rath lost that game, John would have three fairly comfortable games under the belt, and now that'll give sha6rath a bit of confidence. Now he's down a piece here, so I mean, JohnStuckey seems to be able to win some material fairly early. E5 is an issue. Bishop d6. So something like, yeah, d4 looks natural, but you've got to be careful because this knight's hitting g2. It's only defended by the queen, so say you play d4, you might get hit with something like pawn at f5, queen f3, e4. Hey, I just need about 20 minutes. Do you, what's up? Easy. Whatever you get, I'll get. Oh, I'm just on camera at the moment. Alright, so white's traded off on f4 here. So like I said, guys, I won't be sticking around after this. I'm just covering this quickly, and then I'll be going back to family stuff. So John's given up the queen, but two pieces for the queen is very reasonable. And now, this is quite sensible. So with your minor pieces, you clear up what you can on this side of your board. So Laridor says, I miss your matches with 12 teen. Yeah, I mean, with looking after a baby at the moment, yeah, it's the time zones we're in. It just hasn't connected as well. I mean, I'm sometimes online to update forums and things like that, but I'm not in a position to play. But yeah, when we have played, he's absolutely destroyed me. He's in such good form, and I mean, I'm not in great form at the moment, but even if I was in good form, I'd be getting absolutely smashed by 12 teen. And same goes for the likes of Katask, I would say. I do get to play a little bit more with Opperwesen, which is good. And I think Opperwesen's been inactive for a little while, so he's just getting back on the horse. But let's get back to this game. Pawn at c5. Okay, he's just blocking. I want to see John get these guys active. May not need to, but if you can connect your rooks, you're just really safe, and you just have a whole army just sitting on the board of minor pieces, and you just keep pushing. Alpha Leader says, have you ever thought about playing Penguin? I did get to play Penguin last year in the 1 Minute Crazy House World Championship. But yeah, Penguin's not as active on Crazy House. He's doing so much else with regular chess. Knight cd5 is a good shot here. If takes. Doesn't matter where the king goes. Pawn at e7 would be mate. So even if you go back here, bishop takes d6, takes. If you go back to d8, he takes d6. And JohnStuckey proving he doesn't need to get these pieces active at all. He's got enough here. So Black's resign. So it's John taking the lead 3-1. DWeb32 says Opera's been going crazy in the daily hyper bullet tourneys lately. Yeah. I sometimes see in the Discord chat that he posts, a new record or something like that. Insane talent, those guys, Opera and Penguin. Jasugi also very, very strong in bullet recently. I feel like he's taken a step up there. I'm obviously not active with anything to do with chess these days, but I do see some of the developments, and it's very impressive. Okay, knight e7. So I guess he was angling to go this way. He might play f6 if it's not too dangerous. This doesn't feel like a natural move, knight e7. I felt knight f6, like you just create a weakness on f6. If you try to play f6, you might have a weakness on f7 later on. But this is John's board to play, so I just get nervous with this knight coming to h5. That is a direct mate threat, knight at f6. Here it comes, knight h5. So you might need to put this queen here, knight at f6. You just give yourself an escape square, king d8. But it's also quite creative. You could bring your queen out to a7, you hit d4, and if you don't get hit on f6, you can castle. So here we go. John's played queen b8, getting the queen out in a very creative manner. So what's sha6rath gonna do here? You could play bishop takes e7 and then recapture with king would be played. I don't really think that goes anywhere. Maybe he's saying knight at f6 isn't really gaining anything yet, so he's just preparing. Rook c1. Now, yeah, this something could give. I'm nearly tempted to play bishop takes e7 and something like knight at e5, even though you lose a knight, like knight at c6 looks like a win. It's not really decisive. Bishop takes. I don't know. I want something to happen on c6, but it's not working out for me. So a4 is played. So it brings in some more material. It's never a bad thing. So sha6rath here. Got a bit of space, but it seems like kind of just trying to add some weight and look for a killer blow at the right time. This is a good game so far relative to others because the material is balanced and JohnStuckey has generally won some material quite early. So with c4 now available, knights coming in. I mean, the threat would be to take this and take on bishop at c7. So here you could sneak in with knight a5 in order to prepare for something like knight at c6. Alright, but he's taking g7, so he's going to open up with all the diagonal activity. I feel like he doesn't want to take this knight, or else he would have done it already. Maybe he's looking like a knight takes d6, pawn at g7. I don't know if it's that much better. So if takes, rook g8. What's the follow-up? You could maybe take e7, put a bishop on c7. Yeah, very difficult for me to predict the moves. I mean, sha6rath and JohnStuckey thinking quite quite different ideas to my own. Maybe he's looking at bishop at f8. Could be looking at e5. But no, bishop at c7 is the one. So yeah, like you feel here maybe white is close to having enough, but might be just a pawn short. Like takes, e5 back, pawn at d6 back here. So e5 bringing in another piece. So that's wise. And here is black. You don't really like taking this because you kind of give white another pawn to attack with and another vacant square. So JohnStuckey's in some trouble here. sha6rath sacking a few pieces, but some very nice initiative. So knight at f6 now, picking off the queen. Katask, welcome to the chat. Some fine bughouse play earlier today. Well done. Yeah, sha6rath. Look, we've got queen at f8, pawn at d7, rook c7, all sorts of problems for JohnStuckey. You might need like a knight at d7 just to cover these two key problems. Pawn at e7 played instead. Oh, sha6rath looks like he's going to take this game. So this knight still doing a great job in defense. I think you could take here. Alright, JohnStuckey running to the king side for safety. Now king h7 was going to run into queen takes f7, so this was only move, but rook at e8 would have mated. It would have been takes, king takes, rook at d8. I still think sha6rath will pull a win, but he's got to move. He's running low on time. That's the only thing that's going to hurt him. So can't take that away because of knight at d7. Wow, sha6rath with a second win. Coiniolery says, is Justin playing today? No, I won't be playing today myself. I'm covering this Crazy House World Championship match, and I've got to get back to family just after this. But John looked very comfortable in the first two games, and sha6rath has found some nice ways to get initiative. Okay, queen h5 with no diagonal blocker looks like a decent move to play here. Now question if you want to trade off here and go for bishop takes g6, or if you just ease off with either bishop b5 or bishop e2. Okay, neither. Just going straight for g6, very direct. But if takes, bishop at f7. Oh, bishop at f7 was probably a bit more awkward. This is very comfortable for white, just picking up the rook cold and all the initiative. But queen h7 now. A comfortable game for white, but bishop at f7 was more to deal with. I mean, if you took the rook, took here, queen at e2 was mate straight away. So okay, we should see John take this one. Genna says Katask volunteers as opponent for John. I think Genna's trying to get him back. The other day, Katask volunteered Genna as an opponent. I'm not playing any today, Genna. I got to get back to family after this. But I just happened to stumble on this match, and I hadn't covered many Crazy House World Championship matches up until recently, so I want to try to keep the coverage going. So if we take here, rook at g8. Yeah, the rook's coming in at g8 for sure. You could probably have a kill shot here, something like a takes or a knight at g7. No, he's going for the material. Importantly, knight's still covering e2. So knight at h6 makes sense. Bishop at g8 makes sense. So if you play queen at f7, takes, queen at g8, king e7, queen takes f8, king here, knight at c5 is a mate that a lot of players above 2400 are just going to see like that. Like they're not even going to. It's like when you play bishop at g8, queen at f7, you're not even seeing mate. You just know it's going to be there because you've got a queen and a rook on the back rank, and something's going to materialize for sure. So by the rate that John's played this move, you can see he's already seen that. Hey. Oh. Oh, what are you getting? Yeah, they will be able to. I was getting kway or something. Yeah, I'm easy. Anything from there is going to be good. I trust you. Let's talk about that later. Nah, you're right. Oh. Sorry for the disruption there. My lovely wife had brought in a note and basically asking me what I want ordered for lunch. So we'll get takeaway today from a Malaysian restaurant. So sorry to interrupt there. So in this game, John has removed two central pawns, e5, d4. But seeing how the series has progressed so far, I feel like this is the kind of position sha6rath is looking for. He's looking for some, very clear weaknesses to attack. It doesn't need to pull the trigger straight away. You just want some solid, claims that he's gaining some advantage. And this feels like, I haven't played sha6rath much, but I kind of like to get a feel for a player, and I feel this is a kind of position that he would like to play. So if you play bishop takes d4, knight takes d7, takes on d7, knight takes d5. Whoa, what was that? What wasn't queen at d8, mate? Oh no, there's check. It's check. You can't play queen at d8 because it's check. All right, guys. So John has very accurately taken this to prevent knight takes d5, which was what I was talking about. J Friedel also in the chat. GM J Friedel. We got to play some Bughouse, didn't we? Yeah, Chicken Crossroad and I partnered up. I did stream that one. We were on the winning side against some opponents that were a little less formidable than Katask and 12 Teen, so we had a good run there. But great to see another Grandmaster coming and joining in on the fun. Thanks for joining us, Jay Friedel. He said, thanks for the lessons. I got a long way to go. Yeah, just keep playing. I mean, it's a game that is to be learnt from experience and live practice, because it's so situational that the same position on your board, depending on what your opponent's clock on the other side and what the other board is doing, could mean completely different things. You could have a winning position in one scenario versus a losing position in another, even though your board looks exactly the same. So yeah, you just got to play lots. It's not a game that you can study it, but you gain more, I think, from chess and Crazy House being on one board where you can study. Here it's experience. So J. Fredel says, would you consider bishop takes d4 second queen? That was earlier. Yes, I would have considered that, but the line that JohnStuckey played is something I would have considered as well as black. So let's just update here. Clearly, sha6rath with some initiative. Material, white's got a queen for 2 pawns and a piece. But, black's holding up. So, here, black does need to try to make some inroads. Unlike Bughouse, black can't rely on his partner here to checkmate his opponent's partner. You've got to make your own ground in Crazy House. So you've got to find a balance of bringing the position open and not allowing your opponent in. I'm actually surprised. Whoa, what? What? That's a slip. That's like the biggest slip ever. Oh, an instant resign. Wow. Knight at f4, I thought was, just logical to. There's a queen on e2 and a bishop on h3 to hit. But knight at c5, bishop c2, knight a4, bishop takes a4 was not a continuation I was considering. So that. I mean, to be fair, sha6rath had a pretty obvious mouse slip in game 1, so maybe that's fair that both players have taken a win from a mouse slip. And yeah, Genna has lots of lag. Yeah. I mean, Australia has some internet issues once in a while, but I think Genna was definitely trumping Australia's internet. I think he was saying his ping was over 1,000 ms. Yeah, I've had some horrible days, and unfortunately, sometimes I don't realize until I'm like 10 games into a series. I say, how come I get flagged every game? And then I find I'm losing like 1 second every move. So it's much more devastating in Bughouse than it is in chess. So back to the action here. John, John's only 4-3 ahead. If you saw the first 2 or even 3 games, you wouldn't have put this scoreline up as a possibility. So sha6rath coming back here. So what? Black's up a piece for a pawn, and you got to work out how to continue. So he's done the trade. Wow, going for the aggressive option. So will John sack the queen? I don't have to ask the question, it's already happened. John, coming up with some aggression of his own. He's probably chucking a pawn at e7 here. I don't think black's got a quick way in, only because his bishop's defending f2. Okay, pawn at e7 still live, and basically you're distracting the bishop from there to make a hole here. Yeah, you could take with the queen though, and black could try to attack here. So both players trying to get their share of the initiative. You can see John's not taking this immediately. He would love black to put a pawn on d7, but I think sha6rath will put it on c6. You've got to keep this line open so that pawn at h3 is still a threat. And maybe you've got to kind of absorb that. I mean, if you really want to play sharp, it could be knight takes e7, pawn at h3, knight takes c8, takes. You just remove this bishop off the line. Black would only have a pawn and queen in hand, which I don't think is enough to mate. So it'll be pawn at f3, takes, de, takes, queen at g4, takes, queen takes, king here, queen takes d4. I mean, black's got something there, so it's not clear. And in fact, JohnStuckey not opening up this diagonal, preferring to proceed via other means. Okay, here rook g1. I think you've made black spend the pawn over here. Ooh, I would have just put the rook on g1 because then you're defending g2 and then all the attacking options become available. Here, wow, resigned. 4-all. 4-all all of a sudden. Like if I tell you, if John had won the third game, this would have been a much quicker series. In game 3, JohnStuckey ran his king up the board and took a few too many pieces, and sha6rath came up with the goods with just one queen and a whole bunch of pawns. But now we're at 4-all. So this is interesting. This was unexpected. Katask says pawn at h3, mate 01. Katask believes pawn on h3 or pawn on h6 is an automatic win for the player that puts it there. Alright. I think John's got to shake it off here and get his head back in the game, because sha6rath has the momentum here, and it's really off a couple of decent positions where there's been just a critical blunder. Okay, again, I feel like this is a position sha6rath is going to want to play. He's got a safe king. The last few games, sha6rath has just held a better material balance in the middle game, whereas earlier on, I just felt JohnStuckey was up a pawn or a piece very early. So definitely feel a shift in momentum here. Now, if black loses this bishop, like, there's light square holes everywhere. So, you know, as white, you could consider just playing on light squares. I feel like sha6rath is calculating something here, though. Maybe trying to already think if there's a break. But I've not been very good at predicting my opponent, not my opponents, the players' motivations. Knight at e3 also very nice, very similar to h3. You're just hitting this bishop on g4, because if you can get this traded off as white, then all of these light squares just look really shaky. So even the bishop e6 here, maybe you take a pawn and put it on f5. Just positionally, the way this is shaping up, I think sha6rath could take this game. Just looking at it already, and the way that sha6rath plays, I think this is a position that will play to the strengths of sha6rath. So c4, looking for the d5 break. Here we go. I mean, you nearly need to accept that that's going to happen. Because if you don't take that, what else have you got? You got knight c3 maybe. Okay, knight c3. But you're like, yeah, everything's opening up. There's nothing on the white king here. This could be a giant upset if sha6rath breaks through. That'll be an amazing result. Oh, he took the bishop. I would have just taken the knight here. Because now black can take the queen and should take the queen. Am I blind though? Hang on. Am I just losing a piece somewhere? Sorry, I'm just going to reverse. Why did I feel like... Yeah, I just thought if bishop takes f5, you've got the pin happening. So here though, sha6rath has basically said, I've got a lock on your king, on your light squares, and he's done exactly that. He's claimed the light squares, and knight at f7 is coming. Bishop takes c6 is coming. Could have something to do with knight at b7. So John covering up f7 here. But what's the material? White sacked the queen for a piece. So yeah, as white here, you've got to try to win this and win it quickly, while black's nowhere near your king. If you can't find mate, you've got to find material and significant things to hit. So it could be hitting this queen somehow. There was options here to capture on f6 and bishop at g5. This is more directly going for c6. Yeah, if sha6rath isn't careful and lets JohnStuckey out. I mean, if like bishop at d7 takes, you'd be happy as black. Your king's in the open, but actually white's starting to run out of material. So if I was black, I'll just rewind very briefly, but I would have actually been more concerned about losing my queen with something like bishop at g5 with this threat still being open. What just happened? See, that's why I had a viewer say, "Can you not rewind the board because it breaks the flow of the game?" And I just actually missed the end of that game. Oh, so knight at d7 was played after king b8, and looks like John resigned. Yeah, that's pretty devastating, actually. So, sha6rath with a good... Sorry about that. I won't rewind the board anymore. Thought I was doing it just quickly. 5-4. JohnStuckey now fighting for his life to stay in the Crazy House World Championship. Looked like he was gonna just cruise through it in the first couple games. So okay, comfortably defending here. Alright, we want to see JohnStuckey win this one. That'll take it to 5-all. So this is a balanced position. You know, both sides have a pawn in the opposite half. Everything's defended, materials even. Black would just need to look out for this knight getting trapped. That's the immediate thing to look out for. This maybe covers it, maybe it doesn't. Bishop g5. Can you place the knight somewhere? Bit awkward. So white with some edge here. John's going back to his, you know, I'm just going to win some material. Okay, should just grab the knight here. Could grab the rook, or could just try to hold on to this bishop. No, he's going in. Pawn at e6. So he's got an aggressive vein here. So what? Materials even, but white's definitely got something on light square weaknesses. So you either take material here, or you go for something more aggressive and you play for an attack. Now if white loses a knight, you've got to look out for knight at f3 check. So like you... Well, okay, sha6rath just going straight for it. f3 is the one. So sha6rath with what you might call like a John Lee queen sacrifice. Just wasn't entirely called for, but sack the queen, get another knight in hand, and f3 belongs to black. So John accepts. Now, yeah, it could be critical. I wonder if white can play something like queen h5, knight at f3, pawn at e2, bishop at d3, king d1. Not going that way. Knight at f3 now. Okay, something being calculated here? Maybe he's just figured he's safe on f1. And he just wants the material in hand. So, yeah, another pawn is going to be dangerous. I think sha6rath senses that he doesn't really have a convincing attack here, and he's got to tread carefully. But king f1 here looks pretty stable. There could be a bishop at f5 or bishop at g4, but even then, you could probably take such a move. So what here? Pawn at d3, you got to be careful because takes, and there's that critical pawn at f7 which gets into white's hand. That could be enough for mate. If king here takes, queen at h6, king back, pawn at g7. If the rook takes, rook at h8, pawn takes, king takes. Might also lead to a mate. Maybe not. Pawn at h6, king f8, queen g7, king e8. Yeah, either way, that bishop's running back here, so you'll end up, at the very worst, if pawn at d3, takes, pawn at f7, takes, queen takes d3, should be an easy win for white. Now sha6rath very low on time, John much more comfortable on the clock. But okay, finding an entry point with pawn at f3. So you should want to defend this, because the moment black loses a pawn at f7 plays. So knight at d3 he's taken instead. John coming up with the goods pretty quickly. Okay, but is pawn at f7 enough here? Knight takes e2, there's no immediate mate threat. Wow, he didn't even play pawn at f7, he just took g7 cold. But queen at g1 allows black to defend. Oh, king d1 has to be played. You can't take this because queen at e1's mated. He's got knight g3, he's knight g3 mate. Oh my goodness! sha6rath, clutch! But, wow, even... Oh, that was close. King g1 was a save, I feel, at the end there. Knight c3 check, critical to take with the knight, so pawn at e2 you're still taking. But wow, sha6rath came home like a train there. I mean, clearly some blunders from JohnStuckey. I think he'll be disappointed with the back half of that match. But I did not expect sha6rath to pull a win there. He takes the game 6-4. That was an exciting finish. Congratulations to sha6rath. Bad luck to JohnStuckey. And well done to JohnStuckey on your run. This far in the Crazy House World Championship. Let's have a look at the standings before I head off. So what we just saw there was this match here. We had JohnStuckey against sha6rath. sha6rath takes this 6-4 and will play Duches next. Now I think the only other outstanding round 5 game which hasn't been played is between Rek and Phantom Troop, and unfortunately it's probably within the next 24 hours. I think the deadline expires, where if we don't hear more from Phantom Troop, Rek will win this game by forfeit, because we've had significant communication from Rek and nothing come in from Phantom Troop. Now, with 21st June about to come around, there's going to be a bunch of games which I'll soon be posting that are going to come up as behind schedule. So we've got these guys are all on schedule. Jasugi GSVC already in the candidates. We've got Jeremy Durham versus King Switcher. That one should be coming up soon. Master Tan versus Mugwort. Bugzilla versus the Finisher. Really looking forward to that match. That's going to be very interesting. Penguin versus Variants Only. And then, yeah, we'll have possibly, if Rek wins by forfeit, Karagialis versus Rek. T-Cubes AK versus CIW. And Anjur Nakamura versus Morlock. And as a result of that last game, sha6rath, I would say quite fairly, with the upset, capitalizing on some of JohnStuckey's inaccuracies in that last match. sha6rath will be up against Duches. So these are the games that are due to be played 21st June, but we'll put an announcement out that they're behind schedule and give the players some opportunity to play these games. We're deep into the tournament now, so we prefer games to be played rather than forfeit results issued. But when games do fall behind by more than 2 weeks and one player has just made no effort to make contact, or has potentially gone on leave, or has lost access, we do need to allow the tournament to progress. Alright, I'm going to leave it there. If you missed this, I will post this on YouTube. I'm glad I'm at least been able to capture some more games recently, and hopefully I can keep it up. Yeah, sha6rath taking down JohnStuckey. Well played by sha6rath. I'm going to leave it there. Thanks to all who've joined. Hope you're having a good weekend. I got to go back to being a dad. but I hope to see you again soon. Alright, bye for now.